Hello and welcome to the 8th edition of Hames Hot Mic. After a quick break to acknowledge our sponsor, Simpson Notaries, I'll be back with perhaps the busiest local politician I know, Jason Lum. Welcome back. As I mentioned, my guest today is Jason Lum. I've deliberately not used a title as he's got way too many to list. Jason was first elected to City Council in 2011, and prior to that, he served as the youngest president in the history of the Chilliwack Chamber of Commerce and represented the Chamber on the Economic Partners Board. He's served on many boards and organizations, including the Downtown BIA, the Stallo Development Corporation, Healthcare Foundation, and the Museum and Historical Society Board. He's also a Rotarian. Somewhere along the line, he finds time to be the managing partner of his own business, which is Myriad Technologies, and also chair a number of committees for City Council. When Jason was elected to City Council, as I said, he served on most committees, I think, there, as well as now serving as the chair of the Fraser Valley Regional District. And he's a relatively new dad. So with that introduction, I'll say welcome, Jason.
Hello.
How are you, Jason? Are you getting any rest? With a little baby at home and all of that work, it must take a lot of energy.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx myself, but our son is a really good sleeper. So, and I'm sure I just completely ruined that by saying it. But.
Well, I hope not. Listen, Jason, I wanted to focus today on the Fraser Valley Regional District Board, and I do that because apart from all the other interesting things you do, I suspect that the regional district is one of those levels of government that is maybe not as well understood by most folks who pay taxes every year, may not understand the depth and breadth of things that happen at the regional district table. What is a regional district within the context of British Columbia?
Well, you would probably be just as good to answer this question as I would, probably better, because I think you served on the regional district for many years as well when you were the mayor of the city of Chilliwack. But I'll take a stab at it. So I think it's a fairly unique form of regional government in Canada, and what it is it kind of provides an opportunity for areas outside of established municipalities to receive municipal services. So we have a whole bunch of functions at the regional district similar to municipal services, and they're offered across, in our case, in the Fraser Valley Regional District, 8 electoral areas, and we are also comprised of 6 municipalities. So we're a level of government a level of local government that offers government services to regional-wide as well as electoral area-wide.
So if I'm an electoral area, and let's say I'm in the Fraser Canyon, which is part of the Fraser Valley Regional District, and there's a service that's required, how does somebody get a service? How does a unorganized territory get a service?
So in the electoral areas, you are represented by an electoral area director. So that's a politician that runs in an election, the same local government election cycle as municipal politicians. And so your first, I guess your first probably stop would be with your locally elected area director. And you'd petition them, make the case for why you would need that service. Generally, you need to get your friends and neighbors on board as well, because to establish a service, you need more than one household. But once you've petitioned your local area director, they would bring it back to the regional district and bring it to staff, and we'd start looking at the feasibility of that service and planning it out and looking at delivering it.
I think one of the interesting things was that there's no service that exists that people haven't applied for and voted for. So if you want to establish a service in your electoral area, water, sewer, whatever it is, everybody in that area that's going to ultimately pay for it has to then vote in favor of it, or their representatives vote in favor of it, and it becomes an established service. I think one of the most interesting things for me was that in Boston Bar, one of the things that years and years ago, and I'm not even sure if it still exists, one of the things that they really wanted as a regional service, because they couldn't find a way to do it any other way, was to have a bowling alley. Is there still a bowling alley as a part of a regional service?
You betcha.
In Boston Bar.
We still have the bowling alley, and I don't know. I actually haven't checked. I should see if that is unique to a regional district in British Columbia, because I mean, that would be something to hang our hats on. I think the only regional district to operate a bowling alley as a service. But we have literally hundreds of services across the regional district, and not just water and sewer. As you pointed out, we've got a bowling alley. We've got we run air park services. We run recreational services. So it's a very wide variety of services, and really focusing on what we can do to improve people's quality of life across the region.
And there's not just services that are unique to a specific electoral area. There's also services that are in fact region-wide. What are some of the regional services that the regional district provides? And first of all, let's talk about the size of the regional district. What's the dimensions? Who are the communities that are involved in the regional district?
So we're made up of 6 municipalities, as I mentioned. So we've got Abbotsford, Chilliwack, Mission, Harrison Hot Springs, District of Kent. That's 5. I need one more.
Hope.
Who am I missing? Hope. There we go. Hope. And then we have 8 electoral areas. So electoral area A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H.
And they extend up the Fraser Canyon?
And they go up the Fraser Canyon, and then they go as far as just about Manning Park. And then to the west, we border right up against Metro Vancouver on the, I guess, western border of Abbotsford, Aldergrove there. So right around the border with the township of Langley.
So what are some of those regional services that the regional district is involved in?
So we, again, a wide variety of regional-wide services, but off the top of my head, we do regional weed control, we do regional mosquito control, we do regional animal control. There's a whole bunch of collaboration that we have within electoral areas and municipalities. And we're looking for, in some cases, there's a lot of efficiencies, and so we're not recreating the kind of services in each municipality or electoral area. We run regional transit, and that's probably the most well-known regional system that we run. And so when people asked for a regional-wide bus system that would connect them into Metro Vancouver, into the TransLink system, we were able to partner with BC Transit and the City of Abbotsford and the City of Chilliwack and create what's called the Route 66, and that runs all the way into Langley and hooks up with the 555 bus and the TransLink system. So, and very soon to hook up right into the SkyTrain.
That's awesome. One of the, I think, largest services in terms of how much land it encompasses is regional parks. You talk about the regional park system and some of those parks that we might know exist, but maybe weren't aware they were operated by the regional district.
Yeah, regional parks is a really interesting service, because we actually have a regional park system and we have a sub-regional park system, and it was just a way that we kind of structured that system. At first, the City of Abbotsford, our largest municipality, actually wasn't in the parks, the regional-wide park system in the regional district. Instead, they were actually partnered with Metro Vancouver for a time. Now, I'm proud to say they're back into the regional park system in the Fraser Valley. Makes a lot more sense considering they're a member of the Fraser Valley Regional District. But we have a whole bunch of different regional parks. Off the top of my head, the one you'd probably be most familiar with is Island 22 here in Chilliwack. We also run the Vetter Campground as one of our regional park assets. So it's not just parks, but also campgrounds that we've started to explore as opportunities, because there's a huge demand for them across the region, and of course a lot of people flocking to the Fraser Valley, especially given the circumstances right now with the pandemic. People are looking to get outdoors. We've got Thompson Regional Park. We've got a whole bunch of different parks across the region.
The Sham Wetlands is a regional park as well.
Sham Wetlands is a beautiful regional park there out in the Popcom area. And yeah, we've actually done, actually in partnership with the province, we've had an opportunity to leverage some provincial dollars and do quite a bit of work in some of our regional park areas. So you'll see improvements all across the region, and also out into some of the Crown Land, some of the really hotspot hiking areas. So Elk Mountain, we're doing improvements, and of course we thank the province for some of their contribution on that.
I think it's a wonderful system because it allows 250,000 or so taxpayers in this region, probably closer to 300,000 now, to share resources to develop a fairly significant preservation of natural lands. And I think the Fraser Valley Regional Park system is one that is pretty amazing and outstanding. Back in the olden days when I was around there was some discussion about taking over things like the Alexandria Bridge, the Othello Tunnels, and taking those over as a regional park because it made sense. They were within the region. Is any of that takeover of provincial assets happening as a part of the regional district?
We have had discussions of that nature. Of course, when you start to look at some of the funding pressures that it puts on regional districts and that regional park budget, we have to be fairly cognizant of the impact that has on the local taxpayers. In the larger municipal areas, it's often maybe not felt kind of as acutely as it would be in the smaller areas, where even those small increases are not spread out over as much of the tax base, I guess. So you're always trying to balance the wants and needs of the taxpayers and constituents, and with their ability to pay. And oftentimes, especially this year, we've seen a lot of pressure on folks who may be precariously employed or lost their jobs during the pandemic, and so we're trying to be very, very careful about when they get their tax bill this year that we don't hit them too hard in the pocketbook. And so sometimes it means making a little bit of a difficult decision and putting off some of those investments, or in fact advocating to the province to assist or to partner alongside us. We have had some really good luck in leveraging provincial dollars and regional dollars, municipal dollars on some bigger recreational projects like Experience the Fraser, which looks at connecting interconnected path all along the Fraser River, all the way into New Westminster. And those kind of big projects, they really do require that kind of provincial component to them.
Yeah. So the regional district, as I recall, was also involved in solid waste management planning. Is that still a part of the function of the regional district?
Yeah, so it's a statutory responsibility of regional districts is the kind of overall solid waste management planning for the region. So we write a high level kind of management plan for solid waste in the region, and then municipalities and electoral areas have to abide by the policies that fall out of that plan. And so for us, the big kind of aspirational moves that we're making in our solid waste management plan are to move to zero waste. So it sounds very difficult, but I'm proud to say that we've been making huge steps around increasing the amount of recycling and diversion rates, both at the curbside and also in the electoral areas, with electoral areas increasing their recycling and diversion rates as well. And really, we're also looking at what material that really shouldn't be going into the landfill, and identifying that material and banning it. So we're actually stopping people from disposing things in the landfill that should be normally recycled. So we also, as a convenience and also a demand from from taxpayers and constituents is we've introduced in almost all of the areas across the region, I believe, curbside organic pickup. So just having the curbside organics and removing that organic material out of the waste bin has helped to reduce a whole bunch of garbage that's ending up in the landfill. Sorry, not garbage, but a whole bunch of material that's ending up in the landfill. And instead, we're finding kind of a beneficial use for it in terms of regional organics and creating compost and all sorts of things. So
I think if you make it easy for people to recycle, and if you make it easy for people to get rid of their organics at the curbside, it's simple, and it's a program that works, and I think it's worked extremely well in Chilliwack. At least that's the extent of my knowledge, but I'm sure regionally as well. I want to talk about another function of a regional board, but it's got a little bit of a twist to it, and not many people understand there's a thing called a Fraser Valley Regional Hospital District that is exactly the same boundaries as the regional district. The regional hospital district exists to provide capital funding to health authorities. Can you talk a little bit about the function and role of the Fraser Valley Regional Hospital District? I don't think you're the chair. I think it gets to elect its own chair, but I know that you're certainly involved in that, and it's an area where I think people would be very interested to know what the role and function of a hospital district is.
Especially now that there's such a huge focus on the hospital, and not just a hospital, but on healthcare in general, and ensuring that investments are being made in healthcare across the region, and that all of our frontline healthcare workers, doctors and nurses, and frontline workers are able to have the facilities and the equipment that they need. So as you mentioned, the regional hospital district is another form of kind of a regional government or regional body set up by the province in order to provide that capital money, or a portion thereof, to the local health authority, to make those investments in both equipment, large and small, and also in the actual facilities. So in the city of Chilliwack, the regional hospital district was integral in raising funds for the expansion to the emergency room, which was badly needed. So I think you were involved in that as well. But,
yes, I recall.
But we also purchase a variety of large and small capital equipment, and we also fix and maintain upgrades to facilities as well. So I can recall putting money into fixing elevators, everything from fixing elevators to upgrading electrical in the Fraser Canyon Hospital. So again, it's not just the equipment, and it's not just large equipment. We participate in funding a whole variety of things to keep the healthcare system functioning smoothly.
And I'm assuming that happens through a partnership with Fraser Health, who come to you with their requests, and you fund. It goes into your budget, and it's deliberated, and you fund the things that you can fund. Is there a competition among the communities? My experience was that, especially for major facilities, there was always a bit of competition for dollars in where it's going to go. Is that still a reality?
Still healthy competition amongst the communities, and also it's not just hospital funding. It's health and health-related capital, I believe, is the language in the Act. And so one of the things that, again, is incredibly critical right now is long-term care. And everybody is talking about the improvements that need to be made in the long-term care program across the province, and some of those improvements are ensuring that the capital investments are made. And so we have some very large capital investments that are required both here in the city of Chilliwack, but also the city of Abbotsford, Mission, Kent, and Agassiz. So there is a healthy amount of arm wrestling that happens. Ideally, we'd like to make the case to Fraser Health and to the health ministry that we should be funding all of those, but again, they're making difficult decisions going into their budget time right now.
Everybody is experiencing budget challenges these days.
right.
Jason, I'm going to just take a quick break, and then we're going to be right back with more questions with Jason Lum. Hey, welcome back, everyone. My guest today is Jason Lum, who I explained is a councillor for the City of Chilliwack, but also the chair of the Regional District Board, the Fraser Valley Regional District Board, and is involved in any number of projects to do with the city. Jason, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the City of Chilliwack. What are some of the projects that you're particularly interested in seeing the city take on in the next number of years?
Again, a whole wide variety of them, and I think what you've seen probably most notably with this council is a lot of the kind of what we would consider more basic infrastructure projects that you've seen happening across the city. We're building a ton of the kind of main infrastructure that people rely on every day. So we're widening roads, key arterial routes all across the city. I mean, it was one of the reasons why I was a little bit late in getting here is a lot of them are happening all at the same time. So the widening on Promontory, the widening on Vetter, we're doing a lot of road work across the city. And, you know, it was something that this council and past councils had heard quite a bit from the taxpayers of the city of Chilliwack that they were getting a little bit fed up with congestion, and it was you know, you don't think about it in the city of Chilliwack that we would be a city of the size that would experience congestion, but you know, if you hit Promontory and Thomas around the time school gets out, you know, certainly there is congestion. So I'm glad that I think we've kind of simplified. We've gone back to looking at what are the key main things that people expect from the city, and really focused on doing a good job at those. We've done a lot of improvements again across our park system here in the city of Chilliwack. The big one that I was really excited about, and I know I get to give credit where credit is due, the chair of our Parks and Trails Committee, Bud Mercer, Councillor Bud Mercer. He's really sunk his teeth into the pump track project over at by the Landing Leisure Centre, and you know, just looking at how many people are on that pump track, and my little nephew being one of them. I mean, it is extremely popular, and we were the beneficiary of a little bit of extra gas tax money that came from the federal government. We were able to put that into that outdoor rec investment. What am I looking forward to going forward? Well, we've got the looping of the Vetter Rotary Trail. That there's a new walking bridge that I'm really looking forward to get put in. Of course, I live out in Yarrow, and to have that as part of the loop is just going to add to the gem that is the Vetter Rotary Trail. And again, we have hundreds of thousands of visits, if not millions, a year of people going on that trail. And I mean, it's if you look at that Vetter Greenway, I think it's one of the most spectacular pieces of recreational assets across the province of British Columbia. You know, what else are we doing? I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in the background, and you'd be aware of course, some of the public safety work that's happening. I'm co-chair of the Public Safety Advisory Committee, and we're really looking forward to the task force that you co-chair, yes, bringing forward some of their recommendations, and just looking at approaching public safety really from a prevention scope and focus, and I think that will lead itself into investments that this council will be, or the next council will be we'll be looking at making to see how we really focus on crime prevention across the city. The downtown, if you've been downtown, even during COVID, it is such a bustling place right now. And I mean, again, that goes back to your time and even before that. But I am so proud of the work that this council and past councils have done in making strategic investments in the downtown, and now they're really starting to pay off. We're starting to see businesses, we're starting to see residents move in, and there's a whole kind of a really vibrant new kind of scene that's happening there. But there's also some really amazing staple businesses that have, I guess, slogged it out through some of the tougher times and are really deserving of your business and of people to go down and check them out. So I know it's nice to have some new shiny things downtown and some new businesses in development, but there are some amazing small businesses that have been there and deserve to be rediscovered and discovered again.
Yeah, there sure is. Council's to be congratulated. I, as you have alluded, I certainly was involved in some of the issues that happened many years ago, but Council had, I believe, the foresight and the vision to understand that there's a tipping point. You can't just incrementally invest in something like the downtown. You have to make cataclysmic investments, if I may. Which is what Council did in land banking and putting land together, and then working with a developer through a competitive process and coming up with Alger Brothers, who are great developers. I certainly live with the benefits of Alger construction in my own neighborhood, and I know how committed they are to quality. So I think the stars aligned correctly, and there was a good process in place to make that happen. And so is there more to come in the downtown? There are large pieces of land that are vacant in the downtown. There are areas that are ripe for redevelopment. Is there any consideration on Council's part to continue that kind of process of amalgamating parcels of land and then working with a developer? Will we see more of that?
Yeah, I think you will definitely see more development, and there already is. I mean, just driving through the downtown the other day, I was even surprised as somebody, and I vote on these rezonings, how many apartment buildings were underway. And so there's quite a bit more residential coming in downtown, and not there's not just market residential, but there's rental coming in, which is extremely important to build the rental stock. We have very, very low vacancy rates across the city, and to also look at affordable rental. And there's some developers that have been doing some really good things in terms of partnering with CMHC and being able to offer below market rents to folks who need to have affordable rental across Chilliwack. I think there are so many opportunities right now, and again, I talked about people kind of discovering or rediscovering the downtown, and I mean that is also the case with developers. Both are locally kind of homegrown development community, but we're also seeing a ton of interest from developers from the west of us who perhaps didn't pay attention to what was happening in Chilliwack. I think there's still a lot of deals to be had, and but it won't last very long.
That's good news because from a municipal politician's perspective, every time an apartment building goes up, you can count the tax dollars that are coming from that property and go, okay, good, we can reinvest in our community. Got one last question for you, Jason. A little while ago, I think last fall, you temporarily lost your mind and threw your hat into the ring for provincial politics, and you were an independent, which was a very brave thing to do. What's the future for politics for Jason Lum? Is that something we should be looking for in the future, a higher level of aspiration, or was that just a temporary madness?
Yeah, well, I think it was a wise politician back in 2011 when I was considering running for council. It took me out for coffee. Somebody by the name of Clint said, "Never say never." So, you know, I won't tip my hat to what I'm going to do provincially or federally or here locally, but I will say that it was a pleasant surprise. I mean, first of all, completely humbled by the support that I received, even as an independent. I've never kind of tried to do things the easy way in my political career, so it wouldn't have made sense for me to try and do something easy provincially, but. It was a hell of a time, and I do not regret any of it. And like I said, the pleasant surprise was that Elections BC actually wrote me a check for half of my expenses back, and that is held in trust if you ever consider running again, and if you don't, they just take the money back. So. I'll leave it at that. There is money there, and it sure would be a shame to let it go to waste.
You've got a nest egg waiting for you. Municipal politics is the same. I remember the last time I ran for mayor, I, of course, had raised a bunch of money in anticipation of the election. Then nobody ran against me. And the province kept all the money because I didn't run again. So all that money essentially had to be turned back over to the province, which I think in the end we put a big thank you ad in the newspaper, and the Progress was very happy with the size of the ad we ran.
Well, support your local journalism. There you go.
Just to spend a little bit of money. Jason, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We'll have to do it again real soon. Enjoyed hearing about the regional district and all things regional district. Thanks for taking the time to explain all of that to the folks who watch the show. And we'll be back very soon with another episode of Hames Hot Mic. Thanks so much to Jason again, and we'll see you next time. Okay.